Okay, up next we have Denny Hamlin. And Denny drives the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota. He's 11th in points, but he's got a win. And I'm sure he's going for another one here this weekend at Daytona. Denny, talk about racing here at Daytona on 4th of July weekend.
Well, it's pretty much become a tradition. I haven't been around that long, but you always kind of relate Michigan with Father's Day. Daytona with the 4th of July, and obviously the All-Star race with the Memorial Day. So it always seems to it's a good race. Obviously a little bit shorter in distance. The intensity is a little bit more tougher than what the 500 is. So it's always makes for a great race.
Okay, we'll take some questions for Denny. Raise your hand if you got one. We got back there. Godwin, go ahead. Lead us off.
Godwin Kelly, News Journal. Denny, Kevin was just in here, and he's won 3 races like in the last several handfuls of laps this season. As a driver, what do you think about that when you're on the losing end of one of those things?
Well, I mean, it's frustrating, but that's part of racing. Some guys don't show their hands till the end of races. Sometimes races just kind of fall your way. Sometimes when they fall your way, they fall out of the hands of somebody else. So it's just that's part of the racing, and that's why they don't hand out checker flags at halfway or mile 350. It's just it's 400 or 500 mile race for a reason, and that's what a lot of these teams base their strategies off of being in the right place at the end of the race, not necessarily in the middle.
Godwin, you got another one?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
During Speed Weeks, you had a really rough Speed Weeks. I won't go through all the things, but coming back here, do you feel like this is a chance to atone for what happened during Speed Weeks? Yeah,
I mean we actually had a great 500 up until 3 laps to go. We were in a position to win. We were me and the 39 hooked up again, and we were leading with 3 to go, and just got in bad positions, ended up getting in a wreck somehow. So it was a crazy 500 in that sense, and it always seems to be that way. But we always seem to get a little bit better finishes when it comes to the 400-mile race here in July. So don't know what it is, but yeah, look forward to it. I love the type of racing that we have with Super Speedway racing or the 2-car drafts. Either one is fine with me, and obviously look to improve my Super Speedway record. Because obviously, the finishes that we have on super speedways is definitely not indicative of how strong we've been.
Go ahead, George.
Hi, Denny back here. George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. I asked Kevin this, and I'll ask you, thumbs up, thumbs down on the tandem racing, or kind of somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, somewhere in the middle. I mean, I like the old 2-car packs, or the 2-car packs that we have now. Obviously, they've provided for some unbelievable finishes. Talladega being one of them. When you have three packs all together, the other is the packs. It makes for very exciting racing throughout the race. So it's just, to me, I'm kind of indifferent about it.
Go ahead, Don, and then over here to Dustin.
Denny, Don Colba with Morris News Service. When you're at the tandem out there, you have to make a lot of friends, and someone has to be friendly with you. Do you find that these 4-plate races, you make friends with people just for those races that you would never be friends? I mean, people you would never go to dinner with, but 4 times a year you're willing to be their best friend?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems to work out that way. I mean, every time I see guys from the 39 crew, they're like, "What's up, teammate?" It just seems to, some cars work better together than others, and things like that. So it's tough to say. I mean, it seems like you really had to have your partner ironed out in the first 10 laps of the race of the Daytona 500, and those guys work together all day, no matter what. Even if someone got in trouble or got in a wreck, the other would just literally lose all of his track position just to get back to that person, and that's something that's very unusual, especially when you're not actual teammates. So it is very, very different, and you do find yourself racing with different guys that normally maybe you don't even get along with on other tracks that you think y'all never really raced that well together, but it seems like you got odd groups, and when you have odd number teams such as ours at Gibbs and things like that, that you have to find yourself looking for those guys.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers to your left. You've had fun and games with Kevin in the past, and certainly got to deal with some of maybe his head games last year to some degree. Obviously, he's got 3 wins. He's going to be somebody everybody has to deal with, at least for a while, or into the chase. What did you learn from that experience in playing those games? And secondly, obviously, some talk about Kyle's handshake with Kevin, whether that was genuine or whether that was Kyle trying to get back at him in a way. How did you view, if you have a view of Kyle's handshake with Kevin after last week's race?
I didn't even see it, to be honest with you. They did?
Kyle went up to Kevin and shook his hand.
Oh. I would consider it genuine. I wouldn't think that Kyle's just not a head games type of guy. I don't believe. I believe in 2008, when he was winning a lot of races. I remember a race, throughout the season, a lot of emphasis was being put on Kyle and different things that he was doing, and I remember a lot of teams going after them as far as trying to play head games and stuff with them. But Kyle never really kind of responds to that. I don't feel like he never really does anything on track to instigate it. I feel like he's one of the most fair racers really out there, even though that he's aggressive at times. It's not. He does a pretty good job of keeping it, relatively safe for the other drivers. So I would consider it something that is sincere. But as far as with Harvick, I mean, that's kind of the team's makeup, I believe. I mean, whether it's back to the old 3 car or anything like that, that team's always kind of been in those situations and stuff. And when they're racing for championships, that's part of their game that they play. But it's different strokes for different folks. I mean, some people respond to it, like I did with Kevin last year, or some people just kind of wean away from it and things like that. So it's just every team has its own makeup, and drivers have their own personalities, and a lot of times they don't mesh well together. And we saw that with the 29 and 18 earlier this year. But in general, I mean, everyone's going to work it out in time. Even though you consider yourselves the toughest of rivals, we still do a lot of things together that kind of patch that up at times.
When you say respond to Kevin, are you referring to the Dover or something else?
Yeah, I mean, just sometimes you'll make a verbal jab back if a guy does that to you, or you'll do something on track to aggravate him because he's said or done something, and some people like I say, respond back to it, and some don't. So I think it's just the makeup of the race team, the makeup of the driver that handles different situations.
Go ahead, Dwight.
Dwight Drum, RaceTech.com. Denny, as far as sponsorship, you've been with FedEx for quite a while, and that you represent a lot of hardworking guys, girls and ladies out there that go out and deliver. That's their job to deliver. Do you think that type of sponsorships gives you a little bit of an edge over a different sponsorship?
Well, I can tell you that I feel like FedEx's sponsorship is a lot employee driven, in the sense that the employees love the racing program, and if it wasn't for the employees, we probably wouldn't have this racing program at FedEx. But they love racing. Thank goodness for me, they love racing, and they're not out here trying to sell more packages or things like that. They do this for team morale. They do it for their employees, and that says a big statement. Most of the hospitalities and chalets that I go to every weekend carry big customers / employees, and that's the most thing that FedEx is such a tight family when it comes to them taking care of the employees, and that's why you see they're one of the best companies to work for year in, year out, is that they take care of the needs of their employees, and when they want a race team, they give it to them. And so hopefully that drive continues on for years and years.
Go ahead, Reed.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Denny, NASCAR just shared with us some of the research that they've been doing and some of the initiatives that they're embarking on, same things that they shared with the drivers and the owners. As a driver, how do you think that might change your approach to what you do, and what as a driver can you do to sort of advance those sort of initiatives as well?
Well, we just wait to hear back more specific detail of what they need and require of us, and where they're going to go with the sport. And in my opinion, I think that they're going to break us down into a little bit smaller groups and go to the direct teams and drivers and say, okay, this is what we need from you. This is what our fans are looking for. So really, we're kind of at the mercy of NASCAR in the sense that they know all the information at this point, and until we're informed fully of what our responsibilities are, it's going to be tough for us to change anything, because I feel like our on-track performance has been good, but it's more to it than that. We've got to attract new young fans, and those are the people that are going to be coming to the races, bringing their families 10 years from now. And obviously, what little we've seen is that our fan base is aging a little bit, and obviously we need to get a little bit younger.
Any other questions for Denny? Denny, we appreciate you coming in here, and as always, we wish you a lot of luck this weekend. Thanks.